So there's two primary avenues that we're going to talk a little bit about today. Let's start specifically with pay-per-click and how Google's kind of evolved that over the years and what kind of some of the latest values that pay-per-click brings over search engine optimization.
Well, first and foremost, pay-per-click gives you immediate results. You don't have to wait for it. A lot of times SEO can take months, it can take years, especially if something is very, very competitive. But PPC, it doesn't matter. You can challenge any of the big brands and any of their niches on any of their products, and you can rank with them, immediately, day one. So that's going to be the biggest advantage of PPC.
One of the big questions people have with PPC sometimes is what is a kind of a base budget that somebody can start with? If they're going to set up an ad campaign and try and run something that actually generates some results, what do they need to kind of anticipate, just as a bare bones minimum budget to start with, to even have a path to know where to grow from?
Well, it's hard to give an exact answer as far as what budget you should start with. It really depends on the service you have or the products you're selling, and what type of profit or margin you have on that product or service. Once you establish that, then you can say, okay, if I make $100 per sale, then I'm willing to spend $50 to get that customer. So if you're willing to spend $50 to get that customer, how many customers a day do you need to make ends meet?
Right.
And then from there, you can just kind of do the math and figure out what you need. The biggest thing with PPC is that there's clicks that are a couple pennies each. There's clicks that are over $200 each. It really just depends on how competitive a niche is and what those customers are worth to a business.
And so the competitive nature of that keyword is one of the key driving factors for the price of it, basically.
Right.
And that's something that's kind of important for people to know. So if somebody's looking for, say, just lawyer as a generic keyword, that's going to be a very expensive keyword versus lawyer in the World Golf Village in St. Augustine, Florida, which is kind of what we call a long tail, a keyword phrase, which is going to be a lot less expensive. Is that right? Okay. So that's important for people to know. One of the things that Mike talked about was the fact that pay-per-click can get an immediate result. You can start an ad campaign today and you can start seeing those ads tonight or tomorrow and start seeing the analytics around those immediately. And SEO takes a little bit longer, but one of the advantages SEO has is if it's done well and you're building a good content library and you're building a website that has good core search engine optimization fundamentals around it, it can provide good lifetime results without having a cost per click. So there's kind of advantages and disadvantages to both. One of the things that we talk a lot about with pay-per-click, though, is a little bit more broad range of targeting. For example, if we're doing an SEO campaign, usually when we're tracking that, we're only tracking maybe 10 to 30 keywords. Right. But with a pay-per-click campaign, what's the limit on what we can track there?
You can target hundreds of thousands of keywords. So, you can have massive campaigns that have a tremendous amount of reach, that have a library that contains thousands of highly targeted keywords that you can really get down to and figure out, okay, these are working for me, these aren't working for me, and you can figure that out really quickly.
And one of the huge things I think with pay-per-click too, which we probably should address, is geo targeting. So with Facebook, we have the ability, not with Facebook, with Google AdWords, we have the ability around a pay-per-click campaign to target within particular areas. Right. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how that works and what kind of areas people could target if they wanted to and why that might be valuable to them?
Sure. So sometimes a business, let's say a service-based business, electrician, they're willing to travel, of course, to get to their clients because that's where their clients are. But if a client finds you from 100 miles away and you're not willing to drive to find that or go see that client, then obviously you don't want your ad showing up 100 miles away. So one of the immediate targeting options that you have within pay-per-click marketing is called radius targeting. So you can say, all right, I only want my ads to show 30 miles away from my business because this is my service area. Now, for other businesses, you can get even more granular in regards to who or what you're targeting. Sometimes, depending on what your product may be, you may only want to show in certain zip codes. You can do cities, DMA targeting, zip code targeting. You can get down to only targeting a certain congressional district in a political race. So the options are pretty endless.
So one of the things that's a little bit difficult about pay-per-click and can be a little bit overwhelming for some business owners is that there's so many options. And so on our end, when we're managing a professional campaign, it's great because we can optimize that campaign for really specific results. But one of the things that's difficult for regular users when you log in is it can be a little bit overwhelming. So that's one of the advantages that we bring as an agency that specializes in these kind of things, is that we're able to help you refine and target that so that you know that your ad dollars are being used to the highest level of efficiency. Now, one of the things that we do a lot of is pay-per-click campaigns for nonprofits. People often have a lot of questions about that. And one of the things that's really cool, I'd love to talk just for a minute about, is Google AdWords for nonprofits and something really special that they offer.
Yeah, Google offers what they call the Google Ad Grant Program. And the grant program itself is actually kind of an umbrella of different services provided by Google, whether it be at discounted rates or for free. But specifically talking about the Google Ad Grant, it's actually an in-kind grant from Google for registered 501c3 nonprofits. That's for $10,000 a month in free Google advertising dollars.
Yeah, so that can be huge for nonprofits if you're not taking advantage of that now, especially if you have items that you sell on your website or events that you want to promote, or maybe a thrift store that you want to drive people to. Things like that can be really powerful avenues for nonprofits to take advantage of this free money that Google gives in advertising expense anyway, and it's worth taking a look at. Now, we probably could spend all day talking about pay-per-click and SEO, and at some point your eyes would start to glaze over and you'd probably be ready for a nap. But it really can add a lot of value to your business. So if you have specific questions about a campaign that you're working on or something that you're thinking about, leave it in the comments below, and we would love to help answer those questions for you and kind of just help you help your business grow. So leave us a comment below, ask a question, and we'd love to help.